Good morning, everybody. Welcome to MEREDA's 2025 Forecast Conference and our 21st Annual Member Showcase. I am Shelley Clark, MEREDA's Executive Director. It's great to be with all of you today in this beautiful ballroom at the Holiday Inn by the Bay. 2025 is a big year. This year, we are celebrating MEREDA's 40th anniversary. For 40 years, MEREDA's mission has been to promote an environment for responsible development and ownership of real estate throughout Maine. We accomplish our mission through advocacy, education, and networking. Another way we celebrate our mission is with our Notable Project Awards. Each year, we identify and recognize significant commercial real estate development projects. This year, we're excited to honor the 2024 notable projects on May 14th. So mark your calendar for May 14th, as we also will celebrate our 40th anniversary. This social celebration will be in place of our spring social, so please save the date of May 14th. It will certainly be a notable night with MEREDA. We are also partnering with Maine Biz, who will be producing a special publication called Groundbreaking Maine. This will put a spotlight on the MEREDA 2024 Notable Project Award winners, the innovators, architects, and the developments who embody responsible development. As always, we have sponsorship opportunities that are available for that event, as well as our other upcoming events, from our monthly breakfast to our conferences. Sponsoring a MEREDA event puts you and your business in front of hundreds of MEREDA members. Please note, we've reformatted our conference schedule, and we've moved our conference that would ordinarily take place in the spring, in May, to October. Please save that date as well for a solutions-oriented discussion on housing that will take place on October 23rd. If you are interested in sponsoring, please see me before you leave today. We are able to host these conferences and do this important work because of our members. Please note, our board voted today that it is also our 2025 annual meeting for members, as stipulated in our bylaws. I want to take a moment to thank all of MEREDA's members for finding value in what we do and for participating in this important and special group in particular. I'd like to recognize the members who have stepped up to the table in big ways as Cornerstone and Sustainer members. To our members at the Cornerstone level, thank you. Your participation is foundational for MEREDA and why we've been able to do this important work for 40 years. TD Bank, the Bolus Company, J.B. Brown & Sons, Developers Collaborative, and Maine Community Bank. So let's give them all a round of applause. And a big thank you to our Sustainer level members. As you can see, there are a lot of them, and we really appreciate their support. We thank them all for their continued support. It helps ensure that MEREDA continues to grow and connect with new members. If you are interested in learning more about these levels of membership and joining this esteemed group of professionals, please also come see me before you leave today. Let's have a round of applause to thank all of these important members of MEREDA. Next, an important announcement for those of you that need continuing education credits. If you have not signed in yet, please go back to the registration area now. You must complete the pink sign-in sheets with your signature and license number in order to be eligible for the credits. You have to sign in by 10 a.m., which is like right now. So get out there. And the Maine Real Estate Commission also requires you to sign out at the registration table at the end of the conference in order to receive your credits. Failure to include your information on these sign-in and sign-out sheets will result in the forfeiture of credits. Again, in order to receive your credits, you must document your full attendance by signing in now and signing out at 4 p.m. at the registration area. This course has been approved for 4 hours of broker, architect, appraiser, assessor, and legal continuing education credits. I am required by the Maine Real Estate Commission to read you this statement. This program has been approved by the Director of the Real Estate Commission for 4 clock hours towards fulfillment of the educational requirements for activation or renewal of a real estate license. The Commission is interested in the quality and delivery of educational programs which are offered to licensees, and therefore welcomes and encourages comments regarding program subject matter and quality and delivery of the program. Now it is my pleasure to welcome MEREDA's President, Shannon Richards, to the stage. Shannon is the founder and president of Hay Runner, a real estate design and construction company that provides an array of services across the entire life cycle of home ownership. An artist and an entrepreneur, Shannon has spent the last 20+ years in the practice of designing and building, manifesting a life centered around creation. Shannon joined the MEREDA Board of Directors in 2019, became a vice president in 2020, as well as served as the co-chair of the conference committee. She was selected to receive MEREDA's Volunteer of the Year Award for her work in 2019. Her dedication and passion for the work she does is truly inspiring, and she is such an invaluable asset to our organization. Shannon?
Good morning, everybody. I said good morning, everybody. Can I see a show of hands? Who's here for the first time? Holy crap, you guys have never been here before? Josh, liar. We sold almost 1,000 tickets today in February in Maine. All right, so I'll get into it. Go back to the script, or Paula. All right, maybe not. So I just want you guys to know a little bit about what's going on today. Shelley alluded to it, but we've changed the programming. Last year we tried something new. We got a lot of good feedback. We got some tough feedback. We're always looking to improve ourselves, so I really want to encourage you today to listen carefully and to give us honest and powerful feedback so we can continue to improve ourselves here. Oh my gosh, I gotta put my glasses on. Today we're here to be educated. Look around the room. These are the smartest people I know, and they're all here together. I'm sure everybody is feeling a little unsure about what's happening out there in the big wide world, which is why we're here to bring confidence in our decision making. I want you to talk to everybody. I want you to be social. I want you to be friendly, and I don't want you to sit in the corner on your phone. That's why we're here, to make connections. It'll improve all of our businesses. And I want you to come and talk to me and ask me how you can get involved, because I've been doing this a long time, as Shelley pointed out today, and it's a lot of work, and we're all volunteers. And I want to see new people show up every day. So all the people that raised your hands for the first time, you're going to be the next generation. Please continue to come back. Today, I'd like you to feel inspired, because the information that we have here is accurate, and a lot of people have spent time working on it, as I just said. I want you to feel grateful to your peers for putting that time in. And I want you to feel empowered and informed by the information. So, onward. I'm charged up, as you can tell. The 2025 Forecast Conference. We're 40 years old, and today we're going to talk about our challenges and the chances for growth. I mean, wherever there's challenges, and housing is a big challenge, and building is a challenge, we're going to look for innovation and entrepreneurship to support that, which is why we're lucky to have Chris Mallett here to talk to us today from the Rue Institute. We're going to talk about the economy and the work in Augusta with Elizabeth Frazier, who's from Pierce Atwood and is our lobbyist, and she's working on roughly 175 legislative actions to help us. We're going to talk about financial trends, regional outlooks, municipal trends. I'm hoping we have some municipality leaders here so they can take this information back and make informed decisions when they're talking about building and housing and changes that we need to think about. We are today here to celebrate Maine's real estate economy and all of us. By the way, does everybody here know that we have a podcast? Great, listen to it. We have had a ton of great guests. Some of my friends, Mandy Reynolds and Sean Ireland from Bath, who are doing really great historic restoration projects. Kevin French of Landry French was our original sponsor in the very first interview, and it was a great talk, a great chat with Craig Young, the recent past president. We just released a new episode with Matt Tonello Paul Becker and Ryan Contreras. We're talking about mass timber and how it can be applied in development. So today, as I mentioned, we have Chris Mallett from the Rue Institute. Chris is working with Northeastern University, which is an institute, the Rue Institute, which will provide exciting remarks on partnering for Maine's next frontier. We're also going to hear from James Marple, a senior economist with TD Bank. If you've seen James speak in the past, he is amazing when it comes to numbers, digesting them and interpreting them and giving them to us. And then, as I mentioned, Elizabeth Frazier here in the front row, who's going to talk about everything we're working on at Augusta. I always say the events that we have are like the gateway drug to MEREDA, and the deeper in you get all the way to what Elizabeth's working on, which is advocating for us at the top level. So, like I mentioned, we're going to have a little change. We used to, for years and years and years, you would sit here, we would have people who prepared information, we'd all sit in the same room and we would listen to the same thing. We changed it a little bit because we want to take a deeper dive and have more of a panel discussion so everybody can kind of get a little bit more involved. I encourage you to ask questions if you have questions in these different sessions that you've signed up for. The MEREDA board members that are going to be leading these sessions are Marika Thorman, Marika's on a committee, she's not on the board. John Finnegan, Roxanne Cole, Gary Vogel, Josh Soley, Ben Brennan, Jen Small, Kim Twitchell, and Paul Peck. And I want to also send out an extra shout out to Jen Small for stepping up and helping with this. She's running the conference committee, and this has been a whole new level of hard work. The forecast conference used to be pretty dialed in, and Shelley did the whole thing by herself practically. And now it's taking a lot more work, so thank you so much. You can see the afternoon schedule on the screen, and there's also a QR code on your program. And as a reminder, on the back of your tags are the sessions you signed up for, and probably the sandwich you chose. Before we get to it, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the MEREDA members for finding the value in what we do. I love that we have members that step up for MEREDA to lend their voices to our committees and show up for events like today. MEREDA is powered by our volunteers, and this kind of solid participation is the key to MEREDA's longevity. And it's why MEREDA is an essential part of the Maine Real Estate and Development Association. I've been doing some traveling recently, educating myself, and we are unique. This is a unique organization. So a very special thanks to all of the sponsors who make it possible. TD Bank has been a gold sponsor for a number of years, and I really want to send an extra thanks to them. Our silver sponsors are the City of Bangor, Landry French Construction, Perkin Thompson's, Sebago Technics, and M&R Holdings. Our bronze sponsors are Bar Harbor Bank and Trust, Katahdin Trust Company, Maine Redevelopment Land Bank, M.W. Haas Construction, Pierce Atwood, United Insurance, Westbrook Development Corporation, and Wright Ryan Construction. And Wright Ryan's doing the construction here today, so thank you for doing that. Our media sponsor is Maine Biz. Please join me in applause and thanking all of these key sponsors. So I'm sure a lot of you have already been downstairs to participate in the swag grab, but if you haven't, downstairs is the showcase. Everybody has a booth. Talk to people, grab some cool stuff. It's going to be open throughout the day, but we all kind of go down at lunchtime, do a little bit more of a gathering, and then again at the end of the day, we'll go back down for a happy hour, and the first round is on MEREDA. I think there's a drink ticket. Is that true? In your, yep, drink ticket in your, that's what, no? Shelley hands them out. You got to find Shelley. She's bartending for 1,000 people. It's the next level. All right, Shelley. Digging deep on that one. All right, and then Shelley's going to announce the showcase raffle winners at the end of happy hour, so stick around. We have a great day ahead of us. If you are the kind of person that likes to be on social media, which I hope you all are because you're business owners and decision makers, you can tag us at MEREDA2025. That's MEREDA 2025. And that's on Facebook and X. We are also at MEREDA2. So let's get this conference started. It is my honor now to bring Chris Mallett, Chief Administrative Officer at Northeastern University Rue Institute. I hear Rue Institute, I immediately think of innovation and entrepreneurship. and I know I'm not the only one. If you don't know about what the RU is doing, you're going to be very impressed by the end of his remarks. Chris and the RU Institute are helping Maine be one of the most exciting places to start and grow a business. He leads teams that are building new models for talent and economic development by working collaboratively with industry, higher ed, and the community, like us. His work is pushing Maine's potential to the next frontier, impacting the state's economy, and creating enormous opportunities across myriad industries. Let's hear what's possible together with Chris. Chris, I'd like you to come to the stage. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon and Shelley, and thanks and good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be with you. I do a lot of public speaking, but this is a lot. There's a lot of us here today, so I'm really excited to be here and hope to carry some conversation along the lines of what our colleagues had described. Specifically, I want to talk a little bit about why we're at Northeastern so excited about working in Maine and working in partnership with all of you and industry and startups and community members in Maine to take advantage of some really compelling forces and opportunities that are shaping the economy of today and the economy of tomorrow. I'll also talk a little bit about what we've accomplished since we established the RU Institute 5 years ago and take you through some of how we hope to achieve our impact here in the state and how that's working in a really exciting way from our perspective. And then finally, because I think I know the audience pretty well, I'll conclude the presentation with a preview of our future campus site, which is a really exciting and extraordinary project for Maine, a $500 million investment in Maine's future at the site of the former B&M Baked Bean Factory, where we'll build the permanent and future home of Northeastern's Portland campus, home of the Alphonse Center and the RU Institute. So I was thinking about how to sort of anchor all this, right, rather than just jump into a conversation about us and what we do. I thought it might be helpful to talk a little bit about, why are we so excited about Maine? Hopefully you're also excited about Maine and Maine's opportunity and Maine's future. And in the spirit of tech transformation, we're a tech institute, I thought one way to do that might be to ask the AI why it might be excited about living and working in Maine. So I went to, and forgive me while I have to read for just a second, I won't read very much. I went to Claude AI, which is the ChatGPT competitor, and I asked it to present a well-reasoned argument that can be used to persuade professionals to relocate to Maine for career progression and advancement. And in about 60 seconds, it spit out a really compelling argument. And so I just wanted to highlight some of it. One of these items is, I think, maybe controversial in this room. I think you'll know it when I say it. But according to Claude, for professionals seeking both professional growth and quality of life, Maine offers a compelling destination that combines emerging career opportunities with unparalleled lifestyle benefits. And then it highlighted 7 or 8 categories, including a growing innovation ecosystem with expansion in technology, biotech, and clean energy sectors, a vibrant hub for startups, lower barriers to leadership. In Maine's smaller professional communities, early career talent can stand out, and you'll find yourself taking a greater responsibility sooner than you might in saturated markets. Remote work friendliness. Maine has invested heavily in digital infrastructure to support this growing trend, which I'll say more about in just a bit. Strategic Northeast positioning with proximity to major business centers without the daily stressors and costs of big city living. Work-life balance impact. The reduced commute times and access to nature have measurable effects on productivity and creativity. Maine's environment promotes the mental clarity and stress reduction that leads to better professional performance and decision maker. Here's the maybe controversial one, affordability advantage. Housing costs remain significantly lower than in metropolitan tech hubs, allowing professionals to build financial stability sooner. I think we may have more to say about that throughout the day today. And then community connections. Relationships tend to be deeper and more meaningful. All of that adding up, according to the AI, to what it calls a quality of life dividend. The combination of outdoor recreation opportunities, charming towns, cultural amenities, creates an environment where you can thrive personally while growing professionally. So I thought that was pretty good, right? In 60 seconds, I could have offered my own personal opinion about why I personally love living and working in Maine, but the AI hit the mark for the most part. I'd add a couple things that I didn't find here, and I thought I might suggest to you as part of the foundation that we all have to build upon as we think about how to seize the opportunity of the moment here in Maine. The first is a really well-run, sound business ecosystem, anchored by really global companies and small businesses throughout the state, where we know how to do business with one another. The companies that we all always reference, the IDEX, the WEX, the Jackson Lab, the LL Beans, with global markets and lots of job opportunities, and literally the thousands of small businesses that are creating jobs and driving Maine's economy is a tremendous asset and aspect of the quality and the opportunity that we all have and share here in Maine. But also, as the AI suggested, and as we've observed at the Rue Institute, a growing and thriving startup ecosystem. You may be less familiar with this because it isn't, they're startups. They haven't made their mark necessarily just yet. But there are literally hundreds of well-funded and exciting startups working in and around Portland, creating job opportunities for future, creating the next IDEX and the next WEX and the next TD Bank and et cetera. And we've been fortunate in our position at Northeastern to work with some of those organizations, companies like Tanbark, which is a really exciting company led by a woman called Melissa LaCase, building molded fiber products, which creates alternative to plastic packaging driven with a really high-tech manufacturing opportunity. Melissa and her startup have already created 30+ jobs and are expanding throughout the state, bringing manufacturing, leveraging Maine's natural resources, and will be building what I would consider to be a high-tech startup, is building a high-tech startup here in Maine. Others like MedRhythms or Vetro are companies that are well-funded, early-stage startups that are going to make their mark and continue to create a destination and an exciting opportunity for people here in Maine. The other thing that I felt like the AI had overlooked was a strong and vibrant higher ed system. So I work for a university, so you'd expect me to say that. But sincerely, Maine's colleges and universities are world-class, anchored by 2 research universities, now Northeastern University and the University of Maine at Orono. These are R1 institutions that conduct a high level of research and innovation to drive new technologies and translate those technologies into economic opportunity in the states and create jobs throughout the state. Also a really strong and vibrant private college and university system here in Maine. Colby, Bates, Bowdoin, UNE, Husson, Thomas College. These are all incredible organizations home to incredible students who are quite literally the future talent, your future employees and colleagues that are going to drive and propel us forward as a state and as a region and help us to compete in an increasingly complicated environment. And then the University of Maine system, other institutions, and including the Maine Community College system, which is, I think, having probably its finest moment these last several years with the result of investment in affordable and in some cases free college programs for recent high school graduates, and a workforce development and upskilling program that has allowed the community college system to work in partnership with hundreds of Maine companies. These are incredible strengths that we have to work from and to be able to harness as we think about how to position Maine in an increasingly global environment. And as the slide here suggests, what I would suggest to you and want to continue to emphasize in this talk, all of it is there for us for the taking if we work in partnership with one another. We launched the Rue Institute with a commitment to partnership, and we'll talk a bit more about that. And in my experience here in Maine, leading the Institute and observing some of the strengths that I just described, all of it can work more effectively and be even more exciting when we work together. So I want to take us through just a couple. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about unmatched quality of life. You know, what's so great about living and working in Maine. And I just touched on the education ecosystem, the colleges and universities of Maine. But there's something else that we have to work with and we also have to be ready for, and these are tremendous forces of change that are shaping this economy and economies all around the world. The first is as alluded to by the AI, this shift and transformation around remote work. I suspect that many of you know this quite well, given the work that you all do. Maine is embracing and is ready to take advantage of recent shifts in the workforce expectations for both workers and employers around remote work. 16 to 18% of Mainers work at least 2 to 3 days a week from home currently. And in Cumberland County, it's assumed that that number may be as high as 25%, embracing remote work. And in fact, we grew as a state in terms of our population in the last couple of years, in part because people for maybe the first time in their career had the chance to say, well, I actually want to live where I want to live, not where I have to live with respect to work, and could move to Maine and take advantage of remote work opportunities. And we saw quite literally an uptick in our population as a result of this global trend around flexibility, quality of life, and telecommuting. And I think that affects us and creates opportunities for us as business leaders. And it certainly creates opportunities for us to think about harnessing the technology and the capabilities necessary to meet that expectation of the workforce. Employers are benefiting from it as well, too. Sun Life US happened to recognize that they had almost 500 remote workers in Maine, even though their headquarters are in Massachusetts. And so in the last couple of years, they opened a facility on the waterfront to create a co-location and collaboration space for those remote workers. And that was a significant construction project, an investment opportunity that the people of Maine have benefited, and I would assume some of you in this room participated in making happen as a result of this shift. The other transformational change in force is AI and technology. It's not a hype cycle any longer. This has the potential with respect to AI, data science, and machine learning to be as transformational in all aspects of our life that is as significant as the internet or other major transformational changes that we've all experienced. And so, just continuing to play around with this example of AI, ChatGPT, which is an AI chatbot, akin to the one that I used here, they went from 0 to 100 million users in just 2 months when they launched a year and a half ago. And today, 180 million people around the world use ChatGPT every month to complement their professional life, to complement their social life. It's not a theoretical any longer, and major investments are being made to kind of scale and take that to its next stage. Their competitor, Claude, the one that I used for this little stunt this morning, has 20 million monthly users. And there are others that are emerging. But it's not just AI, it's also tech transformation. Every company is a tech company. Every company is leveraging its data and developing its strategies to think about how to harness technology and how to take advantage of it for the future. And we can be ready and need to be ready to seize that opportunity as a state, as a community, as business leaders to take advantage of it. So what does it have to do with Northeastern, and why am I talking about it? I think we have a unique position, or I have a unique position and privilege to be able to lead and bring to scale Northeastern University's RU Institute here in Portland. We operate in the Old Port. We sublease our current facility from our partners at WEX, 84,000 square feet. And we launched 5 years ago in partnership with Barbara and David Rue and the Harold Alfond Foundation. And at the time, the Portland campus of Northeastern University was Northeastern's 11th campus. We now are at Northeastern, we're a global university system. We operate campuses, as you see on the screens here, in 14 markets around the world. Many of them are global tech hubs already. Portland has the potential to become a global tech hub, but clearly is very different than some of the cities you see listed here on the market, and that was the idea. Barb and Dave Rue offered a $100 million investment, a philanthropic gift, to establish a Tech and Life Sciences Institute in Portland, Maine, and the Harold Alfond Foundation matched that. So $100 million from the Alfond Foundation. Barb and Dave's gift allowed us to operate the campus as we do in other markets around North America and in London. And the Alfond Foundation's gift created what we call the Alfond Scholars Initiative. It includes $67 million in scholarships to make education affordable in high-tech fields at the graduate level. And it's worked successfully these past 5 years to do just that. We'll get into some of the numbers in a moment. Joining us 5 years ago were 10 founding corporate partners. Bangor Savings Bank, Maine Health, IDEX, Jackson Lab, and others, LL Bean. Today, 5 years later, we work with 200 Maine organizations to help them grow their businesses. And our goal with partnership is to simply ask our partners, how can we at Northeastern become invaluable to you? What would it take for you to think about growing your business with us such that you couldn't think about executing your strategy without working with Northeastern to do that? Because what we're trying to do is be a catalyst for Maine's economy. We believe the future is around tech and life sciences. And we believe that communities like Portland and the broader communities of Maine historically haven't been able to benefit from that tech transformation and economic opportunity in the way that cities like New York City or Boston or San Francisco have. But the talent and the innovation, if we can build it here, and it is here clearly, we can scale it in such a way that that should serve as a magnet to attract new economic investment to the state. Power the companies that are operating here today and attract new investment in the state. That's the hypothesis, right? And so we set about 5 years ago to do that, and we work to accomplish that mission in 4 key ways. We educate people. We're a university, right? But we focus at the graduate level. We're not offering undergraduate education here. We're not competing with UNE or the University of Maine at Orono for undergraduate education. But we are addressing what was a pretty sizable gap in the Maine ecosystem around high-tech advanced degrees at the graduate level. We offer 10 master's and graduate certificate programs in fields such as computer science, data science, AI, biotechnology, and also project management and analytics that are more accessible for those that frankly, every business could take advantage of. So part 1 of our strategy is to educate people. Part 2 of our strategy is to drive research and innovation. Northeastern conducts nearly $300 million of externally funded research annually for the specific purposes of driving innovation into the economy and allowing that to help incubate new ideas and businesses, specifically in sustainability and security, in health, and other areas. And we work in partnership with 3,500 partners around the globe, but 200 here in Maine. That's the 3rd pillar of our strategy, and that's to situate everything we do in service of and with our partners. That's not typically how higher education shows up in a community. Typically, higher education presents, or historically, I should say, as it has the knowledge, it is the place of expertise, and that should somehow sort of flourish. What we're doing here is we're putting the full breadth and capacity of the university at the service of our partners throughout the economy and asking simply, what can we help? What problem can we help you solve? And I'll highlight that with a couple examples in just a minute. And then the 4th pillar of our strategy is new venture acceleration and incubation through entrepreneurship. So we have incubators and accelerators at the Rue Institute even today that are helping startups learn how to take their business from an early stage idea, maybe with the first customer and a little bit of funding, to scale and to significant impact. So we've been at it for 5 years. And we launched just on the eve of the pandemic, which in hindsight actually probably created some advantages for us, if we're being honest. It was a little intimidating at the time. But we've achieved what we think of as some pretty substantial impact in the last 5 years. Starting in the bottom right, there's 720 students enrolled today. Half of them are from Maine, but the other half are from 20 markets around the world. So we're doing our part to bring early career diverse talent from all around the world to Maine and educating them in high-tech and in-demand fields. What, quite frankly, we need some help from all of you and the people that you work with is retaining them in Maine and creating professional opportunities and job opportunities so that when we get them here and when our partners at Colby Bates and Bowdoin and UNE and UMaine and others get the talent here and educate the talent here, creating the economic opportunity to keep it here is really important for our state and our future, especially given the demographic realities that we face in this part of the world. We've graduated 400 students already. 70% are retained in Maine, which is really exciting. So given that half of them come from all over the world, to have 7 of 10 still here and participating in the economy is terrific. We ourselves are a job creator in Maine. There are 190 of us now at the Rue Institute. I'm one of many people who are working along these lines every day. And 25% of us moved to Maine. I moved to Maine 5 years ago to lead the Institute for the opportunity to work at the Rue Institute. So we are quite literally an example of if we can attract outside investment in the form of new and exciting growing companies, it can create job opportunity and translate all of that to the people in this room. I'm sure many of our team members have worked with some of you to find their homes or to engage in their transformation and moving from where they were to where they are here. That incubator program I mentioned has taken 95 startups through a one-year education and residency program. Those companies have created 500 jobs, 100 of which are in Maine. And they've raised over $90 million in capital to grow their businesses. Tanbark, the company I mentioned earlier, is one example of that. The next big Maine companies are in that portfolio. They're just working on getting there. And so we imagine scaling that in a really significant way. I've talked about the number of partners. And then I want to touch on this piece about education just a little bit differently, right? You'd think of a university as providing education in the form of degrees, right? But we also are educating people for and with their employers. So I'll highlight one example of that. With our partners at Bangor Savings Bank, we started out about 3 years ago, we developed a custom education program in analytics for a couple hundred of the bank's employees. And we concurrently applied our research and innovation teams to help them develop a custom AI solution that they wanted to use to improve customer satisfaction and grow their business. That went well, such that Bob Montgomery Rice and his team gave us the opportunity this past year to work as an in-house university for Bangor Savings Bank through what they're calling their Accelerating Insights program. So over the next 2 years, we will train on the job in role-specific education pathways every one of the bank's employees on the fundamentals of AI and tech transformation. Think about that leadership and investment from the bank's perspective. AI is changing the world. This is the largest regional bank, succeeding already in significant ways. And Bob and his colleagues had the foresight to say, well, we're going to go faster and be more effective if we educate every one of our team members, from the tellers to the CEO suite. And we've developed a customized plan. It's fantastic for us as well, because it gives us a new, frankly, product line and revenue to sustain our business. And so we've educated in programs like that 4,500 people in the last 5 years. The most substantial example is the Bangor Savings example that I'm giving you. But we've also done custom smaller programs with LL Bean, programs with IDEX, programs with the Jackson Laboratory, programs with smaller nonprofits and mission-driven organizations throughout Maine, where they're all the same thing. What problem are you trying to solve? How can we deploy our faculty using your data and your projects and allow your team members to train and upskill on the job? That, by the way, is the future of higher education. Degrees will always be there, but more and more and more colleges and universities will be leaning in to ask the question, how can we bring education into the workplace? And it makes good sense for everyone. It's win-win. Okay, I think I'm doing okay on time, but knowing this audience, you probably want to see a little bit more about what we're building. So this is what it'll look like. This is the future home of Northeastern University's Portland campus. It's on a 13.5-acre site off the peninsula in Portland. And if you're from Maine, it's the site of the former B&M Baked Bean Factory, just off I-295 heading north. These are the architectural renderings, and I'll just describe it a little bit for you. On the right-hand side of the screen is a 245,000 square foot Alphon Center, which is a learning, research, and collaboration center. This is where we'll conduct the research, we'll educate the students, we'll house the team, and we'll co-locate partners with us in that facility. Partners who are working on similar R&D or other initiatives. We also imagine this facility can be a landing pad, potentially for out-of-state partners who want to open an opportunity in a facility here in Maine. And so it's rezoned, it's permitted, the construction is happening. We're doing the underground work right now, digging geothermal wells and setting some foundational work. And you'd all know better than I, but apparently that takes a little bit of time. And so it'll be late next summer before buildings start to emerge. But as you're traveling north and you look to the right, you'll see that the site is ready to receive such a thing. Working to the left of that, the red and white building is the former factory, the bean factory. That's about 50,000 square feet. It has 4 floors. That's been the seat of economic innovation and productivity in Maine for over 100 years, right? Producing the jobs and the impact that the B&M company produced in Maine all those years. That will be an innovation center home to 50 to 100 startups working concurrently on their businesses in the way that we just talked about. Scaling and growing, starting at the Rue Institute and then moving on to a larger opportunity elsewhere in the community through that innovation center. Behind it is a parking garage, which is boring, but it's essential. But what makes it really interesting is just attached to it is a childcare facility with capacity for 100 children, so that we're doing our part to not take limited resources from the community, but building and investing to make sure that members of the Northeastern community whose children need to be cared for while they work or they study can do so on our campus facility. And then you'll see the pier in the foreground. That pier will be built sort of architecturally in homage to the cannery building that used to sit over the water there. That cannery building is now down as of a couple weeks ago. Structurally, it's surprising it didn't come down years ago. We weren't able to save it. But we did get historic designation for the factory itself. And we'll be restoring the waterfront to its natural environment. So you'll see that here and in some additional renderings. This has been a closed industrial site for 100 years. But in the future, it's a 13.5 acre site. 3.5 acres will be available to the people of Maine and the community indefinitely. And we'll restore the access to the waterfront. We'll create bike and pedestrian pathways around the facility. And with the help of the Maine Department of Transportation, and through a $25 million RAISE grant that they earned and we helped support last year, we'll connect that bike and pedestrian pathway with a dedicated bike and pedestrian bridge across the water. So cyclists and runners won't have to run on the freeway any longer. We'll be able to connect into the Eastern Prom and Back Cove Trail in a safer environment. And that'll also fund shoreline restoration. And traffic is a big deal, right? We don't want traffic routing through the neighborhoods that are adjacent to the site. So that same grant will take the current off-ramp, which winds you under and around and in, and allow people coming to the roof from the south to go just straight off and turn right into our, which apparently is the way it used to be. There's pictures that was the way the freeway was at one point, but we'll rebuild that and allow for traffic mitigation in that way. And then just a couple other renderings, and we'll close with this. This is a view of the promenade that will come through the entire campus. As I said, the campus will be open to the public. We want for all of the community, not just our students, to experience and benefit from such a place. We want it to be a vibrant place of destination. The Innovation Center to the right, and just to give you a sense of scale, the new building, that to the left, that's the lowest point of the new building. It'll go up and to the left from there. And then 2 more, and I will conclude. Oops. Sorry. This is just a different view of the bike and pedestrian and public access that'll be available to the community. And hopefully be inviting, and then that new pier. And then this is a view from inside the campus of the new Alphonse Center, if this would work. 245,000 square feet. The ground floor will have event space. The top floor will have event space. Maybe when we get to the 45th version of this event, we'll be able to support it on the campus. And the ground floor will also be open to the public. We imagine a small cafe, and so not just the grounds, but also the facility itself. And so I hope that was interesting and helpful for you as you start your day. We're really pleased to be a part of the community and be with you all today. I'll just leave you, if I could, with maybe 1 challenge and 2 requests. or something like that. I guess from the request perspective, I touched on it earlier, not just at Northeastern, but there's so many exciting students in Maine. And historically, and still, many of them leave Maine to start their careers elsewhere. We are working really hard to change that, but there's only so much that the colleges and universities can do without the support of the business ecosystem to create job opportunities for those students. So even though you can hire anywhere in the world today and lean into telework, I'd encourage you to talk with us or any of the other colleges and universities in Maine about working on internships or projects or other ways that could give students experiences with your businesses, because you'll find they're unbelievably talented. You'll get to audition them and they'll audition you. And many of them may choose to stay in Maine and start their career here because they had an internship or an opportunity with you. So I just invite you and quite literally ask you for that help. This is going to be transformational for the future of Maine, but one of the things I worry about is whether or not we'll have enough job opportunity in the early days as we scale this talent. And so I'm asking you for help in that regard. And then I guess my invitation is for all of us to think about what we can do if we work in partnership together right now. This is such an exciting place. We are already so closely connected and together in Maine. But if we double down on a commitment to asking each other, how can we be helpful? How can we be invaluable to each other? How can I help you grow your business? And not be doing that with sort of a fixed pie mindset, but with belief that with technology transformation and new talent, we can grow the pie. I think our possibilities as a state and a community are literally unlimited. And there will be winners and losers in the next 5 to 10 years. And so if we can go sort of fearless into that opportunity with a mindset of abundance and opportunity and possibility, it's limitless to think about what we could achieve for ourselves and for our families. So with that, I'll wrap up and thank you all for the opportunity to talk with you today. And I look forward to speaking with you throughout the rest of the session and wish you the best for a great day.